Phillies go 4-2 on a West Coast swing against the Padres and Dodgers. If you would have told me precisely 1 week ago, ahead of that road trip, that the Phillies were going to go 4-2 against those two teams out west, come back home this week over 500, I would have signed up for that in a minute. And I would have told you, wow, that's about as good as you could reasonably expect a team to do, no matter how good you are when you're playing those teams out there. But yet here we are after they go 4-2. And I have to tell you, I think I'm actually more down on the Phillies right now than I was a week ago after they lost 2 out of 3 to both the Reds and the Guardians. And we need to sort through why that is. And so here we go.
So, yeah, it's interesting to me, Bob, because I don't know how this team is above 500. I don't know how this team just won 6 games, a 6-game series or 2 series, 6-game road trip. It's perplexing to me. Like, they have offensive numbers that should have them with the worst record in baseball. And yet they're finding ways to win. So what does that tell you, right? Does that tell you that they're probably a little bit better than they are? Yeah. But I have a hard time saying that. I really do. Like, you can't keep winning like this. I'm a guy who has always said, you know, how many times have we on this show brought up small sample sizes? Don't get you know, bogged down in what you see, good or bad, small samples. And I think 28 games in the month of May, it's a small sample over a course of a full season. So I can't sit here and be excited about 18-10 in May. I can't sit here and be excited about 4-2, a 4-2 road trip. And the reason I can't be, and this has, if you look at the title of the show today, when I said the Phillies have to mind the gap, if nothing else, we saw this weekend, they are further away from the Dodgers than they were in October. They are much further away from the Dodgers today than they were in October.
I agree with that. I'm disappointed that you and I are sort of aligned on this. I kind of wanted you to come in and be the guy that's like, look, 18-10, second best record in the National League in the month of May. You know, you asked an interesting question, like, can you continue to win like this? And we've been doing this exercise the past few weeks now where it's like, well, if you want to be an optimist, you look at the rotation and how well it's pitched, but you get to 18-10 in the month of May because one of your starting pitchers didn't allow a run. Zach Wheeler basically had a 1.6 ERA in the month of May, and Jesus Luzardo figured it out. Like, those guys had to be 3 of the top 15 pitchers in the National League in the month of May for them to be that successful. And, like, can they continue to do that? Maybe, but I don't think that there's going to be some regression. Like, Christopher Sanchez is not going to be perfect every month. And I don't think that Zach Wheeler is going to consistently pitch to a sub-2 ERA, you know, month over month. And Jesus Luzardo, I think, you know, look, I love the guy, and I'm bullish on the overall Jesus Luzardo experience, but, like, he's not as good as he pitched in the month of May. Like, he's just not. There's going to be a step back there. So when you set the table and you look at where they're at, a game and a half out of the playoffs, a game over 500, 18-10 in May, 21-10 since Don Mattingly took over. Like, when you look at the overall trends and the way that the standings have moved, you have to give them credit for that. And you have to be excited by that. Maybe not even that might not even be the right word, but you have to at least say, like, okay, given where we were, you know, in late April, you got to be excited for that. You got to be, like, happy to be able to sit down and watch a game and think maybe this matters. But what you watched, and I totally agree with you this weekend, is a team that is not even on the same field as the Dodgers right now. And you can say that Christopher Sanchez didn't pitch this weekend, and had he started Sunday and we didn't see Andrew Painter, maybe you feel a lot differently about this. But I thought they were totally outclassed on Friday night with their guy on the mound in a game where I felt like they had the starting pitching advantage, you know, or should have. They were outclassed on Friday night. They were certainly outclassed yesterday. I mean, and we'll talk about what that looked like and Andrew Painter's day and all of that in a little bit. And even Saturday night, Roki Sasaki, his velocity was way up. He was touching 100. He looked pretty good. But I felt like they were utterly dominated in that game, for the first 6 innings. And I thought that Don Mattingly made a really interesting choice in the 6th inning that did not work out. And then it did work out on the wraparound in the 8th when Edmundo Sosa hit, the home run, the big home run in that game to help spark a rally, which is not sustainable. Like, there is nothing that I watched this weekend and said, wow, they can hang their hats on that from an offensive perspective.
So here's my thing, Bob, on this weekend that really stands out to me. And you talk about Sosa and that thing, and you and I were going back and forth, and I was with you. I wouldn't have pinch hit for Brandon Marsh in the 6th inning there. Obviously, it ultimately works out. And so
it does, but can we talk about that? Because there was a lot going on Saturday night. I don't know if everybody was out drinking. Everybody was all fired up. Like, go back to that situation in the 6th inning. You know how infrequent, like almost how unprecedented it is to hit for a cleanup hitter in the 6th inning of a game for a guy that has a 550 OPS, no less? Like, my thing with that is you can sit here and say, oh, it worked out and he hit the home run, and that's all fine and well. But, like, he didn't hit the home run in the situation that he was brought in to produce. Like, you could have leveraged him at any other point in those final innings, and maybe he would have hit the home run then. Like, that decision worked out, but I don't necessarily think that means that the process of it, like the rationale in doing it, makes sense. So you can talk about career splits. Brandon Marsh can't hit left-handers, right? Like, we know that. Brandon Marsh can't hit left-handers. He's hit them a little bit this year. Historically speaking, he's not. Edmundo Sosa is not hit left-handed pitching this year. He has throughout the course of his career. If you want to lean on career splits in that situation and just be a computer model and pull the trigger, fine, awesome. But, like, you're telling Brandon Marsh, we think you're an all-star. Man, where the hell would we be without you? You're the guy. God, if you weren't doing what you were doing right now, we might be 8 games under 500 still. Like, because where's the offense coming from? He's the only guy outside of Schwarber and Harper that are doing anything. And you say, you're a dude. So much so that we're having you hit a cleanup. And actually, you know what? You're not a dude. Like, I don't know. I mean, Brandon Marsh is a great teammate, and I think he's mature enough to handle that. There's one guy that's not going to go pouty pants and start questioning himself. I give Brandon Marsh a lot of credit for that. Maybe Don Mattingly really just leaned into that, knowing who Brandon Marsh is as a person. But I don't know, man. Like, if you're saying, Brandon Marsh, we need you to be a dude, then let the guy be a dude in a big spot. That's my problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been less disappointed with this decision if they were down like 3 runs and you needed the home run there, right? Like you needed a big inning there, right? They only needed 1 run to tie it. And I looked at, so let's rewind the whole thing here, because I think there's more to it than this. This is why I had a problem with, like, again, if you needed the big blow there, I kind of understand why you would make the change. Again, historical numbers are probably better than the small sample of the.
I would trust the historical splits over the small
right.
2-month.
If you needed a home run in that spot,
because we know that, like, you can think, like, yes, I know that.
Right. But in a 1-run game, here's where I think this was a mistake. So Vesia had come in to pitch, and he could not throw a strike in the first batter that he faced, which was Harper, right? Yeah. He walked Harper. So now you're sitting there going, okay, he just came out here against Bryce Harper with runners on base and couldn't throw a strike. Now you're going to bring up Edmundo Sosa, who swings at everything. If nothing else, Brandon Marsh works in at bat. He takes pitches, right? Even against lefties. And he's been better against lefties this year. You only need 1 run. So with a pitcher who can't throw strikes, I'd rather a guy who's up there with a better eye, who's more selective, and so maybe he walks in the tying run. And then you get to the next guy after that. Maybe he hits a sacrifice fly. Now you're winning the game. I'm not thinking the Phillies haven't scored 5 runs in a game since May 18th?
It's been 11 straight games. 11 games consecutively.
I'm not thinking the big inning. I have to think in the terms of I need 1 run to tie this game. And then we'll worry about where that next run comes from after that. And as you saw, Vesia didn't throw a strike to Sosa. He couldn't throw a strike to Alec Boehm. I think he threw 11 pitches and 10 of them were out of the strike zone, and they both struck out. Like that in and of itself is where I got annoyed in the 6th inning. More so because of that, because you didn't think of the situation against the specific pitcher. You thought of, let's look at the historical numbers, and we know that Sosa's really good against lefties. And boy, if he gets a hold of one, we take a big lead on the Dodgers. That's not the way you should think about it in the 6th inning of a game. I'm sorry, in a 1-run game.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they won the game and it worked out. And you can sit here and listen to this and say, look, you two dorks, you two idiots are sitting behind podcast mics. What do you know? And I get it. Like, I mean, it worked out. Great. Had it not worked out, I think it would have been what we would have led the show with. We would have been talking about that decision. I do wonder about like the long-term ramifications of that. Like, how do you really feel about Brandon Marsh? And you're kidding yourself as a fan at home if you don't think that there was a little bit more to that at bat than the manager simply looking at a spreadsheet and saying, one guy's hit lefties historically, one guy has not. Now's the time to do this. Like, more goes into that decision than just saying like, oh, let's look at the splits.
Yeah.
So
but the one other thing I wanted to, where I was going before we, and I'm glad we got onto that topic because I knew we were going to talk about it at some point in the show. But more so, Bob, the thing that bothered me this weekend is you look and that's really the only option the Phillies have, like on their bench, right? It's like the only is Edmundo Sosa is really your only option. You don't have somebody else to pinch hit. You don't have somebody else to put in the game other than, if you want to put defensively, Stuart Baroa into a game, right? And then you have 2 backup catchers who never play and can't hit. So, like, this is what you have on the bench right now. Meanwhile, you look at what the Dodgers do with their depth, right? So they've got starting pitching injuries. Justin Wrobleski comes in, and he's got an advantage against this Phillies lineup just because of the hand that he throws with. But he comes in and sets a career high in strikeouts against the Phillies. Then you have the kid. Who was the kid that hit the home run yesterday off of Painter that just got called up because Teoscar Hernandez is hurt?
Hold on, I'm looking at a note here on my phone. I have to.
Why can't I remember his name? Ryan Ward. Ryan Ward comes in, gets the home run off of Andrew Painter. Right? Just comes in, no problem. We have that guy. We have a guy get hurt. We have a guy to get out. We have players on the bench. They were starting guys. What's the other guy that gets the double yesterday off of the bottom of the order? Freeland gets the big hit off of Painter as well yesterday. 2 hit bottom of their order, like guys who are just guys. They have no problem. Well, we'll throw these guys out there, and guess what? They produce. They produce. Well, they're just guys, and they produce. The Phillies don't have starters who could do what those guys are doing.